Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Mark from tcgdiscussions Discussions. Coming at you with a video today. I'm very excited. I had to take about a week break, a little bit unannounced. My editor had to get some stuff done that's like heavily focused on work. Today, I want to talk to you about some Blackbeard lists. We've got 4 different lists here, and we're going to start off with this first one. And this one is the finger pistol version of Blackbeard. So I've got a lot of requests. What would I do with finger pistol? How would I play with finger pistol? This list right here is the list that I took to my Pirate League this weekend. I got 7th. I'm on the team, going to Nats, and it's actually my stream game came from that Pirate League. I dropped a game against Lucci that I just should not have lost at all. I wasn't paying close enough attention. I thought I grabbed a stronger and pitched it for my hand for a stage search. When I meant to grab Burgess, I literally left 4 Dawn back to play the Burgess for the turn. Went to go play it, looked at my hand, and I just messed up. It was bad. And then the last game against BP, I struggled because I didn't get an auger until basically 2 turns past 10 Dawn. So that was just really bad for me. I'll talk to the strengths and weaknesses of finger pistol. And what basically happened is that this card wins matches and it loses matches against certain aggro decks. Like my round 3, I played against Calgara, and against Calgara, this triggered twice and they just auto lost. Like the first 2 life were both finger pistols. He just auto lost the game in scoop. His 5/7 was destroyed. His 3/5 was destroyed. And this card basically gave me free ability to develop because I didn't have to worry about the board, right? So as a trigger, this card was super huge, but we can't rely on this card being a trigger out of life every time, right? I mean, that's just not very practical. So what is the applicability of the card? Well, the fact that this reaches 5 is actually quite a big deal. With Stronger in it, you can kill a Sanji Pudding. And the card itself also offers quite a bit when paired with Laboon, because then you can reach a 9 cost. You can see that Laboon's not in this list. So this was a fully invested into this card list. Just to 1, see it, 2, maximize the triggers. The other benefit of this list is that it absolutely mops the floor with Bella Betty, okay? This is one of the strongest lists against Bella Betty, not just because of this, but because of this as a trigger, as well as this card. Liberation's probably a card that you're gonna see consistently played at least 1 to 2 copies. I think right now, because of GP specifically, this card must be ran at least at 1. You basically don't have a lot of very good options against the deck right now, and I'm not sure if it's because we're defaulting to this card and we're playing like less reduction options of what we did before. But the reality is that this card is like one of your only winning chances, right? In my locals last week with Blackbeard, I basically beat a GP when they had 3 Sanji Puddings and 2 Secret Rare Luffys because of this card. They just lost their board back-to-back turns, and I was able to pressure down one of their Sanji Puddings with Burgess and a 7-cost Teach, and then I was able to play Lib and just pop the board that was too wide. And it's one of those cards where in tandem with this card can just be super duper oppressive, right? And I think that like the tandem of these cards is good. I'll show you where like I'm landing for everything going forward. That's kind of like a free-for-all combination of everything with this. This next list is a list that's inspired by JP. I mean, it's a list that I think that I'm gonna test. This is like my next test bed of stuff, but this is a Laboon centered oriented list, and this is probably the most Japanese looking list I could possibly come up with, okay? I need to at least play 1 Lib, otherwise it'd be 4 TK. And the reality is that like this card is, again, just so powerful against GP, it's powerful against Bella Betty, and you'll see that both in the review of the gameplay video against Betty. This card just destroys them, right? Like they play like a Von Kov into something else after playing like a Betty Searcher, and they walk right into this card on the even curve. It's insane. But what is going on here in this list? So this is probably the most dangerous list that you can possibly play against BP. There are some things that I want to note from both of these, by the way. There are no black holes in either of these. So you may cut this Lib or a TK for a black hole, which is completely fine. 1 less searchable card out of the deck for a searchable card, which is always good. The point here is that in tandem with this new Teach, right? And you could cut a TK and a Teach for 2 black holes, and this list would probably look a lot more shaped out. But the reality is what you're going for here is mass reduction and killing between these 2 cards. And that is the penoptimal goal, I think, for this version of the list. We're just reducing, KOing, KOing everywhere. Now, without the black hole, we don't really have anything outside of our Teach and our Dot Q. which may merit reducing this for a black hole and reducing one of these for a black hole. But what we do have is just hyper consistency in our reduction, recursion of dark Q, and lower the ground decks absolutely get destroyed. If the top end of your deck is 8, Laboon, Augur, Dark Q, all KO something. You can even probably cut a Laboon down for maybe like another event if you wanted to. But I want to see these 2 cards at 4. This is probably one of the best lists against DP because of the reducers in tandem with the 7 cost Teach. The amount of combinations, and you'll see this in the guide, that you can develop to actually defeat BP is pretty insane. Basically, you get into this cyclical loop of reduction and KOing. You're probably just going to win the game out. One thing that I do want to note is that this list in particular is not running any of the blockers. We'll talk about like a blocker variant here in a bit. But in terms of ability to reduce KO and flatten your opponent when everything's running, this is probably one of the funner lists that I've developed to play. And, you know, for all the people who are like, okay, well, I don't want to invest in Laboon, TK is a very good option to play at 4 as a non-card, and you can probably supplement in some other cards here, right? But I will flat out tell you, Laboon helps a lot. Number one, it is an attack target. There's times where you want them to attack this card. There's times where a BP will attack this card with their 6k leader. You can just literally counter out, it lives, they play a card, it dies, because you get the setup from this plus something else. And that is just, it's too much value. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money, but I'm not going to act like Laboon's not great right now. And he is very, very good. And I think that when it comes to this list in particular, you can very much see, again, the same concept Sanjay putting at 5 auto dies to this. This plus this and this also kills Sanjay putting at 7, right? Also kills a Seeker or Luffy at 8. So you can see a world where you could play this card and it has its various applications. Now, what is it missing, right? It's missing Vasco Shot, which is a card that, like, when I put it at 1, I really enjoy seeing the card. I developed a more Senwan.Wolf version. It's .Wolf, the Wolfenstein. That's a meme that goes around my locals about Senwan.Wolf. But that blocker is actually very, very powerful, especially being brought back off of this card. And the fact that you go 6 cost blocker into this card, swing, draw a card, play out Senwan.Wolf, and that card is just like an extremely powerful cost card. It prevents it from getting Naimon, prevents it from getting Gravity Blade. They basically have to red rock the card. It's just extremely annoying. It also prevents it from being rested outside of like total rest effects, which is really, really good. The reality is though, right, this is more geared to beating the top end of the meta of BP and GP. This is for GP. Everything else reduction wise is for BP. How does it do against Buggy? This list would probably struggle into Buggy because we don't have any black holes. You may cut a TK for a black hole or a Laboon for another one. So you have the reduction, but simultaneously also have that card to be able to kill the Croc Mihawk, because without it, you're not gonna be able to kill anything. They're gonna be probably trying to spam out 10 costs anyway. It is what it is. But we're focused a lot on heavy reduction here in tandem with our KO cards, and then black hole can kind of substitute in for maybe a card here and then or a card here for a black hole, so we have more reduction into removal. So that's it for the JP list. It's heavily inspired for reduction. Like, for example, they played something similar to this, but instead of TK, it was like 3 Ice Ages, and this wasn't here, and there were like black holes. It was like 2 black holes and 4 Ice Ages and something like that, and then maybe like 1 Liberation. Yeah, just to kind of give you like the concept of where we're pulling from. Now we have Searchable Jack, which is really strong for us. So Kuzan blocker. This is the Senwan.Wolf that we're playing here. There are some things that need to be seriously talked about with this deck, okay? So the first is that is extremely annoying to certain types of decks. So what does that mean? So I mean, just look at this. We're playing 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14 blockers in the deck. And literally they're all searchable except for Caribou. So Caribou can actually just serve its purpose as a 2k and a chump blocker, which this deck probably maximizes that. So what is this deck struggling against? Well, it's struggling against BP for sure, because we can get into Augur lines with Kuzan Augur into this Teach, and we have winning chances on that front. But we're missing a lot of reduction, right? We don't have Laboon, we don't have Tempest Kick, so we're not consistently reducing his big cards. And even though we do have Stronger into Augur into Black Hole, Liberation really doesn't do anything in the matchup. So how does this fare against GP? Against GP, this list is actually pretty powerful for a number of reasons. Number one, we have blockers everywhere, so we don't have to take a lot of life. The key of the deck is this card. And this card, Kuzan, is a card that's both bad and good. So against BP, it's terrible. They basically get free Gravity Blade value. They should probably be playing one of that, but they will get free Gravity Blade value off this card. 100%, no doubts, no ifs, ands, or buts. The second part, though, is what it does against aggro matchups where you have other blockers on the board. So if this card tags into this card or tags into this Kuzan, which then plays this card, you can see how Bella Betty's actually not really getting through. Because like they're swinging with the card, you get to have a free block on like an 8, you get to play this, they have to like swing into this card now, or like you can play like Augur instead, and do they swing into this and let you draw a card? Because if you have Dot Q, it's pretty weird. You know, it's also swinging 6, it's another blocker, it lives, and then like other blockers come down. And then the oppressive part about this is what happens is when Teach starts coming down. So that's where like the blocker variant is like overtly oppressive. If you have Teach, San Juan Wolf, Vasco Shaw, or 6 cost, and this 7/8, they've lost. If you have like 2 life, they cannot get through the blockers. They just can't. Stuff's getting turned off by your Teach. They still don't have on plays. This variant just hyper destroys certain matchups. And then we have the Liberation for the GP, which is just, again, very, very powerful. Like, if I play this on 6, and then the next turn they go 2 wide, and then I play this card, pop their card, and cycle into some defense, it gets very, very annoying pretty quickly. This Kuzan going into this Kuzan to tag into this blocker is nuts. Because basically, I go from a 6k blocker down to a 5, I get a pressure piece, it tags, it draws a card, replaces itself again. So this replaced itself. This replaces itself again, so I'm +1 back into another blocker. And you can see now how getting at me is like getting pretty annoying. And then like I do some play with this and play Caribou, and now I've got 2 blockers, a 7/8 on the board, and whatever pressure I've done for the turn. It just gets really stupid. And then you start playing Teaches, and it's like blocker, 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 7/8, and you can just see how like that slowly snowballs and gets out of hand. The great thing about this list also, right, one thing that I'll point out is that let's say that like against a specific deck like Doflamingo, right, they're 4 cost. These just start to get annoying because you cycle down into this, which tags into this, which reduces, and then you play one of these out of your hand. That costed you literally nothing for the turn to do. And now when both of these die, you draw 2 more cards. It's like your hyper plus. You have like an insane amount of cards at hand they can never put in you, but the cards aren't hyper removal impacting. But they can be, right? Like you can just start to get in there and then you get to Teach. So what does this card specifically do? Because I keep talking about it. San Juan Wolf. It gets blocker if you have a Blackbeard Pirates type leader, and +1 cost for every 4 cards in your trash. So it's like Burgess instead of power against cost. That's what makes this card like untouchable. BP can't even 9-mon this card at a point. You get 12 cards in the trash. It's just basically like the blocker version of Burgess. It's just absolutely crazy. Also, it can't be bounced to your hand by the 8 cost Secret or Luffy. So if you need to have it for the block, you get the value on it. But this does have a harder time removing, which I think is the higher end scope of the deck. The closer you get to that, the better, right? But make no mistake, once this deck starts looping into cards like this into this into this, the advantage is nuts that you generate from this. I mean, you're just generating so much card value, especially when you get to the lower the ground decks like the Zoros of the world, the Bella Bettys of the world. To be able to loop blockers into those, it's foul. It's absolutely foul. Moving on to our last list, right? So this list right here is an inspired list that I want to say just absolutely murks the dog out of Bella Betty, right? Like if you struggle with Bella Betty, get ready to have the easiest time of your life. This right here is basically for all of those decks that are low to the ground and think that they're just gonna win and run you over. This card is so insane right now in this meta. Against so many decks, it's not funny. It's absolutely not funny. If you struggle with Zoro, this is your deck. You want to beat Zoro consistently, this deck will get it done for you. First off, this card is still insane. It's really great against Betty. Pops Morley, pops Karasu, pops 1 cost Bella Betty, pops Pops Race Max, Pops Kuma. So basically all the early game, on 4 Dawn, you play this down, you get rid of an aggressor, right? You just get rid of an aggressor. Dot Q, I've had some people ask me this, do you like turn Dot Q sideways? If you have Dot Q and Assure You against Betty, they have no early game pressure whatsoever. It's all mid game stuff. Start going wide. Once you start getting into that range of like Karasu, you can 1 card out it, can reduce, hopefully pop it in some other way. But like if you're in the odd curve, right, you can still do the normal auger lines that we talked about. You can get to this card, you could address the other pressure here. So there's just a lot of value, especially when you start getting into like the teaches, right? This card's still also super insane. This deck just flattens all the low to the ground decks, all of them. They just cannot play against this whatsoever. Against black purple, right, this card KOs original cost of 3. So their early game Zoro is not protected by the cost increase of the leader, which is also really nice because it's a pressure piece removed. And then you just basically start getting into the cycle loop of being able to KO their 6 cost. Lib also really hurts that deck a lot. You could cut the finger pistols here for more reduction in Laboon as well. But like, it's just like trigger hell. It's just absolute hell. If I had to say what is my favorite list of all of them so far, it's probably this JP list right here. If I had to say like what would be my penoptimal list, it would look something similar to this. And like, I want to test this first, but I already know that I'm probably going to land somewhere in this region right here. But I just wanted to try it out just to try it, right? And we'd probably get something like this, JP, and then we'll just do final. Right, and we'll save this. And this right here is probably closest to what I would want. I will say this, there's no world where this card cannot be played right now. It may even look something like this, just because it's 1 less Laboon. We got some more searchable cards, and what we've reduced is we've gone from now, what is this, 6, 8, which is perfect, right? 8 non-searchable cards is perfect. Removing TK, we are hyper consistent as well. If you wanted to increase these cards back to 3, 4 splits, you could, but we have max consistency for our deck, and that is what's also really strong, just being able to see all of our cards on curve. This card is also very powerful against Buggy, which is part of the reason why like I don't really want to get rid of the card and be absent. But you can see the difference here between the regular JP list. It would look probably something like that if I could say. They may cut Lafitte here for another TK, right? That could be a cut that is made. Maybe this is my age, maybe it's like counter, age contributes, Tempest. It might look something similar to this. And that way we have probably the max number of reducers. We are absolutely fragging and frying the dog out of everything. And they would probably honestly play 1 black hole. Kind of like spitball it. I don't think I'd see a world where they wouldn't play Black Hole, but this is also, again, we're just getting closer and closer to being able to have something for everything. We're teched a little bit for GP. We've got the maximum number of reducers with everything, and you know, our 7 cost teach. We could even reduce this maybe for another Black Hole if we want, or maybe a Vasco shot. Vasco shot's also really good. You could probably do something like that to have the little chump blocker that's searchable, which honestly, I kind of like that a lot. We got a lot of reduction for a .q, everything else, and then we're working into the teach. So this list is just completely dominant into BP. This list just flat out takes it out back. This is, if you play nothing but BP at your locals, something like this is just going to run them over. Because once this card gets on the board, unless they red rocket, it's not going anywhere. You're cycle through your whole deck. You can literally just Tempest kick. If Van Aro's on the board, Q's on. There are so many combinations of ways of you to get rid of 8s and 9 costs. It's not funny. One thing that I will say, just as a quick shout out, this character is absolutely completely broken. Okay, I will be finding a place for this in some blocker variant immediately. This is immediately better than San Juan.Wolf. Immediately better. I cannot believe they gave this card to us in PRB2. But I'm telling you what, this card's probably about to shape the face of Blackbeard. It's that good. This annihilates Bella Betty. If I just did this, which it probably wouldn't be that, it'd probably be something like this. This just kills Bella Betty. They can't win the game. It's impossible. It's so impossible. I'd probably put Vasco here because it's searchable. Cut a Caribou down for that. This is so impossible for her to win. It's not funny. It's not. This card is bonkers against Bella. Stop an attack and blow blow up Karasu. You just play this card on the board, they have to kill it. And when they kill it, they lose something. The fact that it hits a 4 cost just murders the whole deck. It murders the whole deck. Because what happens is the next turn, I'll play Kuzan Blocker, pitch this off of stage, block an attack, bring this out, swing into something, draw a card, play this card. This card will just haunt the entire early game. I mean, it's so powerful that probably something like this could legitimately be a thing. And it's a +4 cost, so they can't 9-mom it, they can't Gravity Blade it, it's not going anywhere. This is a bonkers card that they gave Blackbeard. I'm very, very much looking forward to testing this card extensively. And Blackbeard now does not have a low to the ground rush problem. Make no mistake. Let's say every single game of the meta was determined by Zoro. Do you see this card? Do you see these 2 cards? Like, let's say that I played a 4 copied ratio of these cards. It's GG, dog. I don't know what you'd cut. I mean, you could probably even cut 7 cost each at this point. That's 2 cards. Like, if the game was just completely full of low to the ground aggro, the game's over, dude. This is just so cracked against so many like low to the ground aggro decks. It's not funny. I just wanted to talk about this card because I could not believe they made this card. This card is just so penoptimally broken. Once we get PRB2, like Blackbeard is probably tier 1. This solves all of our weaknesses so hard. It's not funny. Our unfavored matchups now is like GP only. If we just tech well for that, like we just win. Buggy maybe. The only way that they could make Blackbeard better is to give us like a 10 cost teach that just kills a card. I said this, maybe like a 7 or an 8 cost teach that flat out activate main, the turn it's played KOs any card. They give us that, we win. Like we are just completely winning. Like a 9 cost Stussy. They give us that, it's tier 0 stats, dog. But yeah, this is the closer variant to this. But cycling into this card is going to be absolutely bonkers. You block an attack and can play this card outright. If they still have more attacks, they can't attack the card. They're going to lose their low to the ground stuff. Like 9 cost Kaido is probably going to have to come back in some fashion for Black to even handle this, and none of the other trash effects in the game really do anything. Also, this is a very powerful tool against Bonnie because we can just passively pop the Tashigi on the board and then remove their other cards more optimally. This is probably right now close to my favorite list. You may like end up cutting one of these for another Laboon. I know that's probably not what anybody wants to hear. I don't think he got a reprint in PRB2, which is just what everyone and their mother is crying about right now. This right here though is probably strongest against BP. Removing, getting into the cycle, along with something close to this is also really strong. One other thing that I do want to talk about is this card. This card is also extremely strong against BP because it can kill Zoro on curve and give you a 5k swing, and on your opponent's turn it's 7. So the leader at base can't even challenge this card. So this card actually develops a lot of annoyance for him, but it will get bounced to hand off of 8 cost Luffy if they play it, and on top of it, it has just an insane amount of like uselessness at the end of the game against that matchup. It doesn't do anything to BP really, so just keep that in mind. But these lists are all really, really good. I hope you guys enjoy this down in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think, and forward to seeing if you guys get some happy testing. I want to give you guys a lot of variants and kind of like show and discuss what the cards do and what it offers, because I've gotten a lot of questions about it. So just to summarize, Laboon's really strong right now. Like there's no denying it. It's a 3 or 4 of Inluchi for a reason, and for what our deck does, it's just really strong into BP. Additionally, Tempest Kick is also really insane. I mean, I know you guys have seen the video, like Tempest Kick is insane in Blackbeard. It is broken. It just offers us a lot of versatility, a lot of KO, and a lot of options against a lot of decks. The blocker variant though is really, really good. You just are so annoying. Like these blockers just mitigate damage, and even if you establish them and take the damage, you can take the damage because you have the blocker, so you're safe. Then you play another blocker, then you play another blocker, and it's like blocker, 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 and they're like all sad. This is probably the most like teched out version, right? This is like your low to the ground destruction deck, right? It's a lot of fun, right? Like you can have a lot of fun playing any of these lists. I hope you guys enjoy it, and let me know in the comment section down below what you think about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. It's Marcus of TCG Discussions signing off. Laters.
起きろ起きろ起きろ